Welcome, friends, cross-dressing FBI agents, to Sunday Cinematic Service, a weekly discussion of faith-based cinema. This week we tackle the Boondock Saints, the new favourite film of both me and my co-host Heath.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Yeah, so Boondock Saints is a 1999 film directed by Troy Duffy, starring Willem Dafoe, Norman Reedus, and some other one. I don't know what the other guy is.
Neil Patrick
Harris.
Flaherty?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So they play two brothers who they're just sick of all the crime. Sean Patrick Flaherty. They're sick of all the crime, and they decide to take matters into their own hands, becoming vigilantes, the Boondock Saints. The film itself came out in 1999 after numerous delays and arguments between Troy Duffy and Harvey Weinstein, head of Miramax, who distributed the film. Using the Columbine shootings as kind of a pretext, basically this film was dumped into cinemas, where it made a grand total of $30,000 because it was only released for one weekend.
On a $7 million budget, by the way.
Yes, $7 million budget. It's an absolute flop. But what happened was the film was released on DVD and quietly accumulated more and more fans to the point where it sold $50 million worth of DVDs.
Fair enough.
So the film became a huge cult sensation, revitalized Troy Duffy's career so he could make the classic Boondock Saints 2 St. Patrick's Day.
10 years later.
Willem Dafoe is now a famous actor, who, little known at the time. And the film holds a... Well, it was introduced in the interview me and you watched afterwards as a cult classic.
Yes, well, it definitely is.
Yeah. It's even been released on... we watched this on Amazon Prime, the Arrow TV channel. A sign of its sort of prestige it's gained now is it's actually been released as a deluxe edition by Arrow Video, which is like a sort of... They pick trash and give it 2-disc edition, stuff like that. So yeah, Boondock Saints. Your first time. I'd never seen it before. Your first time as well.
Yep.
What do you think of the Boondock Saints?
It was very enjoyable as a film. It is on IMDb down as a crime thriller drama. I think they need to drop the drama and whack comedy in there because it is. I think it's intentionally funny. Personally, I don't think it's like a so bad it's good.
I think it walks a weird line.
Yeah. It's got a charm to it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was laughing the whole way through. It's not a good film, but it is so like you watch the whole. It's only an hour and 45 minutes. And yeah, you don't feel it at all. It's just wall to wall hilarious.
It did like right at the end though. It did sort of like I did ask you. I'm like, shouldn't this film be over?
Yeah, they should have ended it. So basically, right at the end, they sort of go into they storm a courtroom and kill a man in front of like maybe 100 people.
Yeah,
that's the end point. And then it just has like a lame speech by Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
Did you know that this film is made in sort of immediate aftermath of Quentin Tarantino's success?
Oh, really? I wouldn't have guessed that.
I would never have
any of it. Yeah.
This film is also quite famous because there's a documentary made about it called Overnight, which is supposed to be one of the best documentaries ever made about Hollywood. So it depicts Troy Duffy as being a sort of cocky bartender.
Yeah.
His bartender bouncer who writes the script. First thing he's ever written. Overnight success. People want to sign him up. He gets in with Miramax. He's able to make his film. And then basically his huge ego gets in the way and he just tears through sort of any goodwill that he's accrued from the script, ruining his career in the process.
That sounds about right. You can sort of see that in the film. I think the best way I could describe this... the mic's gone. Oh. Yours.
You had the best way anyway.
Yeah, the best way to just sort of describe this film is like a grab bag of things from other films, and Troy Duffy going, well, I can do it better. I can do it better than Scorsese. I can do it better than bloody Tarantino. I can do it better. And that's the feeling I got watching it. Like there was, you could see, it wasn't influences. It was him going, yeah, I'm gonna take this sort of thing and show them that I can do it better than them.
Yeah, and he's just going like, well, that's quirky. Well, this is even quirkier, Yeah. Like, you've never seen a character like Willem Dafoe's.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Anytime he's on screen, I think the film gets into another level of...
Willem Dafoe is giving his all in this film. Like it's the most like Willem Dafoe ever. He's like he's at like Nick Cage levels of like craziness in this. Like,
well, would Nick Cage dress up like a woman in the end? Semi convincingly, I've got to say, he doesn't look that bad as a woman. Like,
that was hilarious. I don't. Yeah, he's not a pretty woman.
No, it's very severe.
Yeah. Well, he's not a pretty man either, so no. It's not really going to translate well. But yeah, that was something I sort of found odd, as well as is Willem Dafoe's character is gay for no discernible reason. Like, it doesn't in any way sort of inform his character or anything like that.
There's absolutely no reason for him to be.
No, and he's just a bit camp, and that
he's a bit camp, but he loathes campness in other people. Yeah. Like, there's the bit where he's in bed with that was hilarious. So he's in bed with someone. Then the guy like wants to cuddle and he's like, "Get away from me, fag!"
Yeah,
like just cut. Oh, I love the editing in this film is so funny.
and the bit in the bar where the bartender says, he asks for another drink and the bartender says, "Oh, I think you've had enough," and he's like, "Just pour the drink, Farry." and all the other patrons of this bar sort of clutch their pearls and go. It's a very odd sort of I don't know whether it was just like Troy Duffy like wanting to get in,
some homophobic slurs.
Yeah, exactly, and like go, but have a defense against it, going, well, the character's gay, so it's fine.
Well, it is a really strange film and all, because there's like there's no women in it really, apart from those two women that get a gun shoved in their face and call various names. Like, other than that, it's a very masculine film. Almost like I want to say homoerotic, but
well, I do have to say that some of the sort of the looks and that between the McManus brothers and that they weren't unsexually charged. Like, had this come out now, I imagine that there'd be like tons of fanfic for those two. Like,
yeah. Well, I think the problem the film has, well, one of many. The thing that's not unintentionally funny is that these two characters are just dead weights, aren't they? Like, the main two characters have no personality at all, and like the main two people playing them, like, well, you laughed at one point when the one who's not Norman Reedus tries to do some like acting. He does like a bit where he goes like, no.
When the Italian guy gets killed
and the guy gets shot. Yeah,
and it all goes slow mo and that sort of thing. By the way, there is Boondock Saints fanfic.
Is there?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Oh, right.
Apparently there's a Boondock Saints Walking Dead crossover because Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus, yeah.
I may. As a bonus, I may read some of it.
Right, that would be very pleasing. Yeah. Would you watch the second one of this?
Probably, yeah. I think. Well, if it's anywhere as sort of batshit crazy as this one was, yeah. But I kind of think that he probably would have like toned it down and.
Yeah, I think the magic won't have been gone. Like, I imagine that making this film and then having it open to such low box office and like, I mean, everyone hate you after it. Like, would just destroy your ego. Like,
yeah,
I've heard and all that literally every single scene in Overnight he has a drink in his hand. I think he may have a serious problem, Troy Duffy.
Yeah, well, he's like Irish, so it's not uncommon.
Troy Duffy is Irish.
Yeah.
The director of the Boondock Saints is Irish.
I know. It was hard to believe.
Yeah. The portrayal of the Irish people in this film as well is hilarious. Like the opening bit of the meat packing, which just that barely comes into the film at all, does it?
Yeah,
they work in a meat pack.
It doesn't come. It does not come into the film at all. There is so much in this that is just like pointless.
Like a skilled filmmaker would have established that. And then had them like try and get back into their life, and maybe the last scene like is like a set piece in the meatpacking thing.
Yeah,
that that would have worked into it. Maybe that sort of very brusque woman at the beginning who they smack around with the meat is.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's supposed to sort of indicate that these people are sort of of a lower class and that sort of thing, and but it's not needed. You see their apartment.
Yeah,
that's enough to clue you in that they're not doing so well in life.
Yeah, they've got that, and like just the scene where they're at the bar and all the way they're talking. I think you can get just enough from that to know that these people are sort of a lower income and place in society. Well, they live in Boston as well, so they're obviously they're cast off from New York.
They're garbage people.
Garbage people.
Garbage.
But jeez, I mean, is this one of the stupidest portrayals of vigilanteism ever as well?
No, maybe, I don't know.
The thing with this is that like this is a lot different than what I expect it to be, because there's like they go in, they kill the first people by accident, the first Russians.
Yeah.
But just in the bar.
Not really by accident.
Not by accident.
But yeah.
So yeah, basically they beat them up. They're semi-provoked. Then the Russians come to their house.
Yep.
And he has to throw a toilet onto him and jump from a building onto his head.
Yeah.
But then like they just from that, with no character possession, just go into like, now we have to kill everyone.
Yeah. Well, it seems like there's a bit missing in the film. Like I do realize that there's sort of the they get congratulated by the police and that sort of thing, and then they get their adulation, and then there's the very unsubtle scene where it's seemingly they're being anointed by God, with the water dripping from the ceiling in the shape of a cross, and but there just needed to there needed to be a scene in there where they sort of discuss it more, because then they basically I think it's they leave the police station.
Yeah.
Then they take the money and the guns and shit that they got from the Russians and buy more guns, and then decide to go off and kill some Russians. So, more Russians.
It is totally ridiculous, and like they never meet any resistance. Every single person they meet ends up going like on their side. Like even Willem Dafoe in the end is just pro.
No, it's gone again.
Oh. But yeah, they meet absolutely no resistance to what they're trying to do. And yeah, in the end, Willem Dafoe is helping them to do so.
Yeah.
Like, the lack of character progression in this film is just hilarious.
Well, like, you'd think if they were sort of sticking with the whole Catholic thing and blah, 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 anointed by God. Like, the scene where Willem Dafoe goes to the confessional and that sort of thing and has the discussion about whether what they're doing is right and blah blah blah, that actually should have been the scene with the guys going to their church and speaking to a priest and going, we've killed these guys, but they were bad people and blah blah blah, but no, that's given to Willem Dafoe for some unknown reason.
Well, it's just, like, it just feels like this beat is missing from, like, why the characters are doing this, and there's no, It's just an excuse to get to the, fucking awesome slow-mo action scenes.
And there's so much in this as well where things are explained over and over again. Like, each crime's, like there's Willem Dafoe as the detective explaining what's happened in the scene, and then it'll like cut to a flashback of what happened, and it's like, well, you either show one or the other, or intersplice. So you would have Willem Dafoe talking. Well, kind of what they did then.
There's one cleverly executed flashback bit where it's Willem Dafoe guiding them through it. Oh, that's.
God damn it. Nope, still.
Let's see if does it need tightening up? Or?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, the scene where Willem Dafoe guides them through the crime scene, that's my favourite part of the film. I think
it's so beautiful.
So yeah, basically it starts off relatively normal. Like he sat in the back of the van with them, guides them to there, and then it descends into Willem Dafoe going, and it was a bloodbath. And then
it was a firefight.
That's it, firefight. And then he just gesticulates wildly, throws his arms in the air, like
fires his gun up in the air, like, and it's like, well, when I was watching it, I'm like, this is happening in real life. Like, this is happening while the other police officers are standing around. He's just standing there in the middle of the street, discharging his weapon into the sky. It's so ridiculous.
And even the bit where, like, he stands next to the Boondock Saints, just like with his hand going like,
yeah.
Shall we discuss the third act, the like end 10-minute twist as well?
Oh, yeah, why not?
Okay, well, what is the end twist?
Well, so the Italian mafia decides that they don't want these Boondock Saints messing up their business. So they get Il Duce played somewhat by Billy Connolly. I was going to say wonderfully by Billy Connolly, but yeah, he just turns up. And Il Duce is released from prison, and he tracks down the boys, and then there's the aforementioned firefight. And anyway, they end up at the head mob guy's place, and they're saying their prayer, which has been foreshadowed is a prayer that has been passed down from father to son in this family for generations. And Il Duce walks in, and they're saying the prayer, and he finishes the prayer for them. He's their papa.
See, that would work with more like setting up of who the character of Il Duce is.
Yeah.
But he literally has like 3 scenes before this. Like,
well, yeah, and it would also work if it's sort of like set up at all that these guys didn't know who their father was or anything like that. Like, it's not mentioned at all. But though, as I said, like just before it happened, I called it because I was like, oh yeah. Like all the little bits fell into place. I'm like, oh yeah, the bit about the prayer being father, son, blah blah blah,
yeah,
and he's walking in, they're saying the prayer. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what a cheap, lazy director would do.
Hey, I've seen Tarantino films, I've seen Shyamalan films. We need a twist.
This is a bit before Shyamalan.
All right, someone else who does twists. Glub, 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 glub.
I've seen. I know. I've seen Empire.
Empire.
Where he reveals it's his father. He's the father.
What if he says, "My fucking boy, I'm your fucking dad, yo"?
No, we need to be more subtle about it. How about we set up earlier in the film that there's like a prayer that they say.
Yes. Oh God, so good. Ostensibly, a religious podcast.
Oh yeah.
What does the film have to say about faith, religion? How deep and meaningful is this film?
There's not a lot in there, apart from the sort of initial impetus to do this, because the film opens with a sermon, and it boils down to that whole thing about true evil is allowing bad people to do.
Is when good men let bad things happen.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. That's about the level of it.
I got to say though, like, there is so much obvious religious symbolism in the film.
Oh yeah, there's tons of it.
It's just loaded with it. Like the scenes with choral music. How's that pronounced?
Yeah, that's right.
Choral music over the top. There's a bit where they all healing their wounds, and like the Boondock Saints are all wearing crucifixes that just come into focus just as they're like screaming in pain.
As they're suffering.
They're
suffering for their justice.
So yeah, like just that. It's so laboured over the top, just like everything else in the film. It's what an idiot thinks is like clever filmmaking. Right?
Yeah, well, it's ultimately empty. That's why I sort of didn't go into that a lot in regards to if you're talking about like actual faith in the film and stuff like that. There's not. There's a lot of very empty symbolism in it.
There's a lot of what somebody who thinks like just having a cross is important is. Yeah. But yeah, not the most rigorous film that we've watched for this podcast. Winter Light, I think, has got this down in terms of religious symbolism.
Oh,
and depth.
Yeah.
Possibly, I'd say more entertaining film, Boondock Saints, than Winter Light. Though.
Oh yes, definitely. I would. If someone said to me, "You have to sit through Winter Light or Boondock Saints again," I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll do Boondock Saints," even though it's like twice as long.
Yeah. Well, I want to know. So before Amazon, we had a peruse of YouTube. They have some versions on there which are half an hour longer than the one we watched.
Yeah.
I wonder what is that half an hour? Does it answer all our questions? Like
potentially, or it's just a whole bunch of bullshit in the middle. I don't know.
I imagine more bullshit, more slow-mo action scenes, more. I'm surprised though when they went to like the strip club, they didn't have any like breasts on show or anything. Like.
Well, they did at one point where he grabs the boob. It's like right in the foreground of the shot.
Yeah, but even that was treated comical. Didn't he have a record scratch?
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, it was the because the music was playing, and then when the guys are like, "Hey, don't do that,"
This must be one of the most dated films as well. Like, you could just tell exactly when this is made, can't you? Like late 90s indie boom. Like, it's like the zenith of that. You can imagine this film possibly being the end of that kind of age. Like,
we've just gone too far, guys.
Well, you'd think though. You're Harvey Weinstein. You've just sunk $7 million into this arsehole's project. It's difficult the whole way through. It's made $30,000. You're just probably gonna be like, well, we're not investing in these people anymore.
Yeah. I don't know why anyone would have invested in this guy in the first place. I can't imagine reading the script going, wow, this is like a masterpiece. Like, I can imagine reading the script and going, well, this may potentially get bombs in seats. Like,
yeah,
but this is not going to be a great film.
And this is the kind of thing that would start a bidding war.
No. No. I think if Troy Duffy is to be believed, and that his friend who worked at New Line got him in. I feel like it has sort of just slipped under the radar of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, what's his name?
Harvey Weinstein. Just one day going, having a look at his books and going, what? I'm missing $7 million. What the fuck? Is this a payoff?
Yeah. Who am I paying off this time? This is Troy Duffy.
But yeah, like, it's so derivative as well of things that were at the time. Like, I can only imagine this would be a cold, cynical move to be like, he's gonna give like us a good Tarantino ripoff we can market easily, and like,
yeah.
Well, there were a whole spate of films like this during the late 90s. There's one called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, which is terrible. It's a similar kind of like mob film where like somebody realizes that they're going to be killed, so they sort of like Christopher Lloyd plays like an assassin who's going after Andy Garcia and his gang. And it's just about sort of Andy Garcia just sort of hanging around, realizing he's going to die and all this kind of stuff. And everyone in it has like some kind of ridiculous quirk and stuff. But yeah, the Boondock Saints is probably the best of the like rip-offs, just because it's so wild and unencumbered. Like, can you imagine though being Willem Dafoe reading the script for this, like going, "Yep, I want to do this."
No, I can imagine Willem Dafoe reading the script and going, "Oh yeah, this is going to, you know." I'm going I'm going to take this to like the nth degree. Like, it doesn't. I can only assume that Troy Duffy just had no control over Willem Dafoe in this film. Like, Willem Dafoe, it was just all one takes of Willem Dafoe because they're like, you know. He's just going to do the same thing again, only worse, probably.
Well, if you like Troy Duffy, though, he must have written like the scene so early on, and they find the first crime scene. Willem Dafoe puts in like headphones and he plays music and sort of dances around while he looks for clues. Like, you know, he must have written that and been like, I bet he was there and he was like, it's brilliant. It's like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. It's a mesh of tones. Like, you're going up there, man. Yeah, it's like Christopher Walken in Pulp Fiction, man. I've got my own weird actor. Whoa.
I like the that in that scene. My favorite bit of that is when he finds he finds the bullet in the wall, and he sort of turns back around and looks at the guy, and he has like this sort of coquettish look on his face, like someone's about to take him from behind. Just like beautiful. I knew at that point I'm like I'm going to enjoy this film, and I'm going to enjoy Christopher Walken. Not Christopher
Walken.
Willem Dafoe.
I think that Willem Dafoe and all, like, you think like Christopher Walken or Nicolas Cage, I don't think they would have done like as good as this. Like.
No, I think just the sort of the camp that Willem Dafoe brings is just so beautiful.
The river dance he does as well.
That's so good.
But yeah, Boondock Saints, very highly recommended.
Yes, definitely. I recommend anyone watch it. You can get your 7-day free trial. This is non-spawn, by the way. 7-day free trial for your Arrow TV channel.
Well, I think Arrow though is a genuinely great company. They release. I've got a lot of Arrow Blu-rays, and they release a lot of great stuff. And I would like to kind of own the Blu-ray for this if it had like fun extras and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you can imagine. Wouldn't you love to watch? Wouldn't you want to watch this with a Troy Duffy like commentary track on it?
I'd love to watch it with like a Willem Dafoe commentary track on it.
Well, this scene with the river dance, I thought it needed a river dance. I was using kabuki theater techniques, and well, it's weird though. Would you like to see Troy Duffy make? Well, apparently he's making a third Boondock Saints film.
No, he seems to be a one-trick pony. Like, I had a look at his like IMDb, and there's like Boondock Saints, and then I think there's like a Knight Rider thing.
Knight Rider thing.
Yeah.
On like a TV an episode of that TV show.
I don't know. I don't think it was an episode of the TV show. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think it was an episode of the TV show. I think there was like a TV movie or something. I'm not sure, but anyway, he's definitely tied his wagon to the whole
the Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's a big cult thing, like 50 million DVDs. It's been seen obviously by millions of people, you know, who really. I think some people like unironically think the Boondock Saints are cool though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can understand that.
They're lame though. Like, this is one of the lamest films ever. Like, the attempts at like being cool, and it's just amount to like some slow-mo, and like every action scene is like in slow-mo set to like an awful like like what you'd assume like cool rock music is.
Yeah.
7 million and all. Like, you can tell they didn't have the budget to set it to some like actually good music as well.
Yeah, no, they didn't. The other thing that I found interesting in the film was the first confrontation between the Saints and Il Duce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and basically, you know, the Saints are being played up to be like these you know, almost sort of
godly figures.
Not godly, no, as like prodigies of the assassin game, and Il Duce, the greatest assassin of all time. And then they just shoot at each other and just continually miss. Like, Il Duce uses like 6 guns. Yeah. So, you know, you're looking at upwards of, I don't know, you're probably looking at about 60 bullets or something like that.
Yeah.
He shoots the 3 of them. So he shoots them 3 times. And they shoot him once. Yeah. And they're just standing in open area.
And he isn't even moving either.
Oh, like, he's walking still. He's walking sideways. This is why Willem Dafoe thinks it's 6 people that have turned up.
Oh yeah,
because he's walking in along a line.
I thought he thought it was because he'd fired 6 different guns.
Yeah.
Oh, but also because he was moving.
Yeah. So if you were looking at the evidence, you'd have shell casings from 6 different guns, all in a line. Anyway.
And yeah, like the Boondock Saints never do anything like that cool either. Like, no. Most of the people they like kill are like not expecting them, and they just take them by surprise.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And the guy that's sort of the Italian guy who's seemingly a bit of an idiot. He's the one who has sort of like the, you know, coolest like kill things. Like he shoots the 2 guys across the peep show thing, and you know, he's the one who gets down on his knees and like shoots the guys under the pool table and all that. They just sort of walk into a room and just like fire guns and that's it. Anyway,
yes, it's very lame, very very late 90s. Anything else to say about it?
No, I don't really have a lot more to say about it.
It's just funny.
It is incredibly enjoyable.
Would you watch Overnight as well, the documentary about the making of the film?
Probably, yeah.
I did watch the trailer, and there's a clip where Willem Dafoe goes, "Just shut up, Will. Just shut up, Troy." Doesn't that make you want to watch it? Seeing Willem Dafoe telling Troy Duffy to shut up.
I can imagine that. Yeah, Willem was calling a lot of the shots on that. Yeah. I honestly don't think he could have gotten away with that performance otherwise.
Say if this was actually Quentin Tarantino, do you think he would have been like, tone it down?
Yeah. Come on.
Would you have toned him down? No, he's very funny in it.
Oh well, like okay.
Is he really out of character with the rest of the film?
If I was making this as a comedy, as I said that I think it should be classed as, I think yes, that his performance is like a perfect comedic performance of like a sort of of this, you know, gay FBI detective thing. Like it's great in a comedy, but this is a drama.
Yeah.
Like, it is way over the top for that.
Yeah. Well, you can tell though that he's supposed to be like the kooky detective. Like, you know, like, well, they're all the archetypes. You've got like, oh, someone shoots that scene where they shoot the cat as well. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's funny though.
It is funny though. Yeah. The cat just explodes and but yeah, that was Boondock Saints. Should we do Boondock Saints 2 for this, or do you think it'll be just Finn's group again?
Yeah. We'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
If it's all right, if we've got enough to talk about, we'll...
Well, that one's shorter as well. It's only like 80 minutes.
All right. Okay, then. Well, good.
We'll watch it at some point. It's called St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
Hopefully it doubles down. Billy Connolly's still in it, but I don't think Willem Dafoe is.
Oh. Well, that's probably going to be awful then.
Yeah. You think this film would have been awful if, like, I don't know, someone serious played Willem Dafoe's character and toned it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes the film, definitely.
I don't think it'd be as enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the next thing we'll do then is probably you reading fan fiction from the Boondock Saints.
Yeah. I'll read a few fanfics, or maybe not the whole fanfic. Just the I'll just go through the descriptions of some of them.
Yeah, we'll do a bonus. We'll do that, and I'll try and find some unironic positive reviews of the Boondock Saints because I'm sure they exist.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming so, but well, considering it's got like 20% on Rotten Tomatoes,
7.8 on IMDb.
Yeah,
though.
no, but real
fans, the IMDb fans.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, join us for that. We've not got a proper thing decided, but obviously next Sunday, then you'll know.